Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Chris. This time, I actually had to do a retake. For the first time, I think, I had to do a retake. And the reason was that, as I was telling you, I bought Lucifer, my cat, an automatic feeder and a water fountain. But he's having a bit of trouble with it, so I heard a bang in the kitchen, definitely from the feeder. And yeah, I went out there and Lucy was really scared. I think he almost tipped it over, but then it like smacked back in place. So the reason that I bought him an automatic feeder and a water fountain is that I'm going on vacation this summer, as some of you know, some of you might not know that. And I need him to be able to be alone for a little while longer than usual. And it also works fine for my everyday usage. Just the idea of not having to feed him, but rather just getting to empty a bag of feed into the container and then he gets fed automatically. And it allows me to control his portions better. Before, I used to actually just fill up his bowl and then he'd meow at me when the bowl was empty. So what I'm going to be doing is, right now he has a very hard time with it, since he's used to just having food available. So he's like, what is this? Why isn't it giving me food now? I've set it to feed him every 3 hours from between 5 and 8. So at 5, at 11, at 2, 5, 8, 11, 2, 5, and then 8. He will be fed all of those times, one portion. And I think that should be enough. But I'm not quite sure. And I don't want to overfeed him. I don't want to underfeed him. So it's going to take some getting used to. But right now, he's meowing at it because he got food earlier at 5. But it's still not 8 o'clock. And so he's still waiting for his next portion. And I think that's going to be a thing for at least a few days, where he doesn't really understand what's going on. Why isn't the food there? And then he'll get used to it. But in the meantime, I gotta make sure that he doesn't tip it over. On the bright side, this does allow me to better understand how much he actually costs. It allows me to know exactly how often I need to refill it and how long a bag lasts. So I can calculate what's the expense per month. And I'll be doing the same thing with, I'll be buying some expensive litter, and then hopefully he won't cost more than $30 a month. He is kind of an expensive cat, obviously, but $30 a month isn't a lot, and that should be doable. But right now, I have no idea how much he costs. I used to buy the cheap food for him. Well, it's varied a lot throughout time, depending on what was available, what I could afford, all of those things. But he mostly got cheaper foods. And so now I just decided it's time for him to be a little happier. And the same thing goes for his litter. And then there's the water. His water was just a bowl with... that bowl wasn't easy to get clean. And I bet the water wasn't the best from it. We got hard water here. So I bought a water fountain thing with a filter and a little spout, and actually kind of expensive one. But he's already drinking so much more water. He's been standing at that water fountain all morning. And I quite literally just heard him go to the litter box. So he's probably taking a pee. I bet he's been drinking a lot. And I'm really happy to see that. I'm glad to see that he's getting some use out of it. And the great thing is that the things have batteries. Well, the water fountain doesn't, which could be a little worrisome. I need to maybe put down a bowl of water too, to make sure that it's available, because he can't reach the water if the pump isn't working. Anyway, the feeder has backup. So he'll always be able to get food even if power goes out while I'm gone. And like I said, I've bought the expensive litter as well. Much better. It doesn't smell as much. It clumps and it's more easy to clean. I've never had such amazing litter, but it also costs, well, it costs $30 per bag. And a bag like that is supposed to last 2 months. So they say, but I've never actually timed it. I've never allowed it to last 2 months. I've never, written it down and just went like, okay, let's see how long this lasts. But that's what I'm going to do now. I'm also going to put down timers. There's this app called Sweepy or Sweeply or something like that I've tried getting into using before. But my problem was that I put in everything that I needed to do around the house. And then, of course, it was overwhelming. So I never got around to doing any of it. But here, right now, I can put in a few things. And that is clean the feeder, change the filter of the water fountain, those things that I know when to do. So there are 2 different filters. One needs to be changed every 4 weeks, and another needs to be changed every 8 weeks. 2 months, I guess. So once a month and once every 2 months. And the feeder needs to be cleaned once every 2 weeks, I think, as well. I don't actually remember, so twice a month. And I can input these things into the app. And then it'll remind me when I need to do them. And I can just have those things in there. I don't need to put in dusting and cleaning stuff. Though I could put in that I need to change my towels because I've actually gotten really good at that. But not always. And I want to do that once a week. Sometimes I do it once every 2 weeks. Some of you might find that disgusting. Some of you might not care. And some of you might even think, oh my God, he changes his towels once every 2 weeks at most. It all depends on perspective. But I like changing them so that they're clean, And just so you know, it's not just, my bathing towel. It's towels. I use towels in the kitchen too. I think it's easier. It's a little weird. And people look at me strange because there's towels hanging. But I just feel like they absorb better than cloths and those kinds of things. So I want to do that once every week. And I've gotten pretty good at it. But putting it in the app and having it remind me every Sunday that, hey, you need to do this. Then it might actually be easier to do because sometimes I simply forget to do it, silly as that might be. So I need to do this thing where I don't let myself be overwhelmed, but I also make sure to add a few things. And I think those are the things I'm going to add in there. I don't think I'm going to add anything else to begin with. It's Lucifer's feeding stuff, his litter, his water, and then my towels. Those are the things that are going in there. Because I know exactly how often to do the different things. Well, except for the litter. But I'm thinking, because it's this litter does not need to be cleaned daily. It's actually really fascinating. There's a reason that it's so expensive. So I'd like to get used to cleaning it every day. But I have to admit, I'm really bad at remembering to clean it every day. So maybe my goal instead should be to clean it twice a week. Because this litter can handle it. And so I'll get into the habit of cleaning it twice a week. Then I'll do it thrice a week. And then 4 times a week. And slowly build it until I actually clean it every single day. But then there's also how often should I change the litter? Because when I just clean it, I forget when I put it in, and I don't really know when it's time to change it. And that is why I need the app. That's why I need to program this into some place that can help me remember. And you know what? I'm actually going to download it right away so that I don't forget. And I can tell you it's called Sweepy. Sweepy. Home cleaning schedule. Like I've said, I've used it before, and they do have a premium membership, but it's not necessary for you to buy it. It just gives you smarter schedules. So the schedule is more flexible and capable of being like, how overwhelmed are you, and those kinds of things. So that's pretty great, but not really a necessity. And I'm just typing in my email right now in order to sign in and really get things ready. Because I seem to recall that this was my account. Let's see if I can actually log in. Nope, invalid. Maybe like this then. Still invalid. Well, that's weird. I'm gonna figure that out later. Anyway, that's the interesting thing for me, is to schedule things. Because if I try to schedule everything, I get overwhelmed. If I don't schedule some things, I also get overwhelmed. As I've talked to you in a previous episode, routine and habit are really strong for me. And so there are also negative routines and habits. There are negative habits like not changing the towels. Negative habits like not putting things in the dishwasher immediately, or like not cleaning while I'm cooking, even though I could technically clean that pan since I'm done with it. All of those kinds of things, they are habits as well. They're not just a lack of good habits. They're actually habits that I perform. But the power of habit is strong. So if you can change the habit, you can change yourself. It's one of the reasons that I started practicing Coffee with Chris before I actually started releasing Coffee with Chris, is that I wanted to get into the habit. And I managed to do that. I spent 3 weeks, and now I've been going at it, releasing episodes for 26 days. I have released an episode every single day. We are almost at the end of April. I have almost done this for an entire month, every single day. The only thing I have ever done every single day for this long was an app called Elevate. That was, small language challenges and mathematics challenges. It took about 10 minutes per day, and it was actually a lot of fun. I did it for 222 days. That is the longest streak I have ever had of doing anything. I'm getting better. I really am. My improvement has taken me years, but I'm getting better. And I'm doing this thing every single morning, and I'm enjoying it every single morning. Even when I don't have anything to talk about, I still enjoy doing it. I try to have as much fun as possible with it. And this is a habit, but this is a healthy habit. To some people, it might seem like a waste of time because I'm not actively trying to get listeners. And some people might say, well, if you don't go out and do something and work for it, then why do you do it? Well, I do it for me. I do it for the sake of getting to rant and just being myself. And the reason I put it out there is just so that I have some kind of external motivation to do it as well. Like someone might listen, someone might actually use this as background noise. And, I'm pretty proud of myself for having built this habit. And I'm building more and more great habits. I'm doing amazing things, but it does take time. And luckily, I have a lot of time. I have a lot of time to work on myself, to improve myself. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing this podcast as well. I'm going to figure out why I can't sign into Sweepy. Then I'm going to set things up so I know exactly when to clean things. And yeah, then I'll just get into that habit. I'll spend a few months doing those things and just those things. Because once you get into the habit, it's going to be a breeze. And that's, that's that. So I guess today's episode is going to be a little shorter than usual. That's okay too. Variation is great, right? So all I gotta say is don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really do, whether you believe it or not, I do want some subscribers. I think that would be incredible. I'm really looking forward to having some people to interact with, and I'm hoping that I get them sooner rather than later. So if you've listened to this, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And please subscribe. If you don't really care to listen to more episodes, that's fine. But a like or a subscription or just watching a few more videos in the background, it would be a huge help. So please go ahead and do whatever you can to support a guy who's just trying his best in life. Thank you. It has been a pleasure talking to you. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye now.